Have you ever felt out of place, like you don't belong anywhere? As if there is something unique and different about you, something no one else understands? If so, this isn't by chance. There is a deeper reason for this feeling, and today I'm going to reveal why. You're on a special journey, and what I'm about to share may be the missing piece for you to understand your own existence. Stay with me, because what comes next could change everything. Know that this feeling may be deeper than you think. Perhaps throughout your life, you've felt that you don't fit in, that there's something different within you, something that sets you apart from crowds, from superficial conversations, and even from relationships everyone around you seems to value. This discomfort, this isolation, may not be by chance. It could be a sign that you are one of the chosen. Now, imagine for a moment, you've always felt out of place, as if you don't fully belong in this world. Rather than being a mere error, this could be a calling for something greater, something deeper, a spiritual journey that few have the courage to undertake. The truth is, the path of the chosen is often solitary, not because they don't want to be among others, but because they are being prepared for something much greater, courage to follow the path designated for them. And the isolation you feel may be a fundamental part of this process. It is in silence, in solitude, that the chosen begin to hear the voice of their true essence, where the connection with the divine grows stronger, reserved for you. So, don't view your solitude as a weakness, but as a sign that you are on a journey meant only for the chosen, and environments that no longer serve the higher purpose He has for their lives. It's as if you are being called to a different journey, where your soul will be refined and your spirit strengthened. It's in this silence that we hear God's voice, and it's in this emptiness that we find the fullness of our mission. This is not punishment, but a divine act of love, preparing us for something far greater. Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Isolation allowed Him to reconnect with the Father, renew His strength, and prepare His mind and heart for what was to come. Just like Jesus, those who are chosen need to go through moments of solitude. This time away from common company is an opportunity for growth, for spiritual deepening, and for preparation for something greater. It's in this isolation that visions become clearer, the connection with the divine intensifies, and the true purpose of your life begins to manifest. However, it is understandable that this isolation can feel like a form of punishment. After all, it's not easy to be separated from what we know and love. But know that this distancing is a gift in disguise. God is taking away everything that could distract or limit you so that you can be molded according to His plan. It's not punishment, but a call to something much higher. Many times, we feel abandoned in this process. We ask, why me? Why is this happening to me? But the answer lies in God's profound love for you. He sees something in you that others can't see. He knows that for you to fulfill the purpose He placed in your heart, you need a period of preparation, and this preparation often comes through isolation. Isolation is not only physical, it is also spiritual and emotional. You may feel disconnected from everything and everyone, as if you are on a journey that no one else understands. But in this moment, God is preparing you to be a light in the darkness, an example of faith and strength for those who have yet to find their way. Spiritually, isolation serves to distance us from the world's noise and bring us closer to the truth within ourselves. When we are removed from certain circles or relationships, it is an opportunity to reconnect with our divine purpose. It's in this silence that we hear God's voice, and it's in this emptiness that we find the fullness of our mission. This is not punishment, but a divine act of love, preparing us for something far greater. The Bible gives us clear examples of how isolation can be an essential part of the spiritual path. Jesus, the greatest example of all, frequently withdrew to lonely places to pray, as it is written in Luke 5:16. Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and prayed. Isolation allowed Him to reconnect with the Father, renew His strength, and prepare His mind and heart for what was to come. Just like Jesus, those who are chosen need to go through moments of solitude. This time away from common company is an opportunity for growth, for spiritual deepening, and for preparation for something greater. It's in this isolation that visions become clearer, the connection with the divine intensifies, and the true purpose of your life begins to manifest. However, it is understandable that this isolation can feel like a form of punishment. After all, it's not easy to be separated from what we know and love. But know that this distancing is a gift in disguise. God is taking away everything that could distract or limit you so that you can be molded according to His plan. It's not punishment, but a call to something much higher. Many times, we feel abandoned in this process. We ask, why me? Why is this happening to me? But the answer lies in God's profound love for you. He sees something in you that others can't see. He knows that for you to fulfill the purpose He placed in your heart, you need a period of preparation, and this preparation often comes through isolation. Isolation is not only physical, it is also spiritual and emotional. You may feel disconnected from everything and everyone, as if you are on a journey that no one else understands. But in this moment, God is preparing you to be a light in the darkness, an example of faith and strength for those who have yet to find their way. This phase of isolation is a time of profound transformation. God is cleansing you of old patterns, removing distractions, and drawing you closer to Him. When you emerge from this phase, you will no longer be the same. You will be stronger, wiser, and more connected to your divine purpose. What seemed like a phase of loneliness is, in reality, the starting point for your spiritual ascent. The isolation you feel today is not a curse, but a blessing in the making. It has a purpose, a deep meaning. You are being prepared for something grand, something you cannot fully see yet, but that will be revealed at the right time. Trust the process. You were chosen for something extraordinary, and this isolation is only the beginning of the journey toward the manifestation of your true destiny. The isolation of those we call the chosen is not merely a detachment from worldly things, but a process of refinement. In a world where distractions are abundant, isolation becomes an essential step for those who carry a unique mission. It's during these solitary moments that the mind becomes clearer, emotions are confronted, and inner truth begins to reveal itself. To fully understand one's essence, it's necessary to shed the layers of the world's influence and embark on an inner journey that few have the courage to face. In the silence of this isolation, a profound transformation occurs. Each thought, each emotion, and each memory is placed under a lens of intense introspection, revealing aspects of oneself that may not have been perceptible before. It is a painful process, yes, but also liberating. Through this refinement, the being is purified of external influences that hinder its genuine connection to the mission it must fulfill. Everything that does not serve this purpose is left behind, allowing the chosen to become a purer version aligned with their true destiny. Isolation brings with it a shift in perceptions. What was once considered important now loses its value, while truths that were once hidden begin to surface. This understanding is inaccessible to those still immersed in the illusions of the common world, but for the chosen, it becomes a beacon. The new perspective allows one to see beyond superficiality and distractions, promoting a deeper connection with one's essence and soul's purpose. This period is essential for the individual to prepare for what lies ahead. 18. Emotionally, this process can be devastating. Often, the chosen feel alone, disconnected from friends and family who do not share the same vision or purpose. This detachment, however, is necessary. It's as if one's energy is being refined, elevated, and those who cannot accompany this new frequency naturally distance themselves. There's no more space for superficiality or distractions, as the mission becomes the priority, and connections that do not support this journey become superfluous. By being separated from those who are not on the same frequency, the chosen undergo a process of detachment. This detachment is painful, as it involves letting go of relationships, habits, and familiar environments, but it also liberates. It frees the individual from the bonds that held and limited them. In this new state, the presence of a new energy is felt, an energy that guides, instructs, and strengthens. Isolation is, therefore, a fertile field where the seed of a new consciousness begins to germinate. The reference to the desert is particularly significant when we talk about the isolation of the chosen. The desert, in spiritual tradition, is a place of purification and testing. Moses, for example, spent 40 years in the desert before leading his people, and Jesus fasted for 40 days and 40 nights to prepare for his mission. These moments of extreme solitude were essential for them to receive divine direction. Similarly, the isolation of the chosen today is a preparation for something greater, a necessary stage for those seeking to fulfill their life's purpose. This desert, however, is not a physical place. It is an internal state, a crossing that the chosen one makes within themselves. During this journey, they confront their fears, their doubts, and their own limits. They learn to trust their intuition, to listen to the inner voice, and to rely solely on their spiritual strength. It is a preparation that few understand, but that is essential for those who seek to walk the path of truth and fulfill the mission they were given. This journey of isolation also awakens compassion. By going through these trials, the chosen one understands the pain and struggle of others, giving them a new perspective on human suffering. They no longer see the world superficially, but see the pain and growth potential that each person carries. This deep understanding connects them more to the mission and makes them want to be a light for those who are still lost in the illusions of the world. At the end of this process of isolation and refinement, the chosen one emerges with new strength and clarity. They are no longer the same. Now, they possess a vision that few can achieve and a determination that is unwavering. They understand that their purpose is greater than themselves and that the pain and loneliness they faced were, in fact, preparation for what is to come. This transformation is what makes them ready to fulfill their role and accomplish the mission they were destined for. The isolation of the chosen is, therefore, a call to step away from the noise, to enter into silence, and to allow the process of transformation to take place. It is an invitation to let go of everything that no longer serves and to connect with the deepest truth of one's being. In the end, those who answer this call discover that, though the path may be solitary, it leads them to a place of peace, wisdom, and purpose. Being alone is not a process of distancing oneself from the world, but of drawing closer to oneself. When external noise dissipates, we can, for the first time, hear the true essence of our being. This time of solitude makes room for an inner journey, in which we begin to question beliefs, recognize forgotten dreams, and discover truths that perhaps would never have revealed themselves amid crowds and rushed routines. Amid solitude, a new dimension opens up. In the silence, we can hear a voice that, many times, has been muffled by the noise of daily life, the voice of our soul. It's as if we can finally hear the echo of our own feelings and desires, understand what truly motivates us, and seek answers to deep questions. This moment of introspection is not just a pause, but a genuine reconnection with who we are and who we want to be. The transformative role of isolation in gaining clarity of purpose. When we step away from distractions, we begin to see more clearly the purpose of our existence. Isolation allows us to question ourselves in a way we rarely do amid external pressures and influences. This pause provides space to think about our true role in the world and the changes we want to see, both in our own lives and in the lives of those around us. Isolation not only allows us to hear our own soul, but also opens a direct channel with the divine. By silencing external noise, we can perceive a higher presence, a spiritual guide that manifests more clearly and deeply. It is in this moment that communication with the transcendent intensifies, bringing forth a peace we would hardly find amidst the chaos of the world. The Bible shows us the example of Elijah on Mount Horeb, where he didn't hear God's voice in grand events, but in a gentle whisper. This symbolizes how, in solitude, we discover that true spiritual communication is not in noise but in silence. When the mind and heart are calm, we become receptive to revelations and truths that hide within the tumult. The most powerful prayers are born in solitude, and the connection with the divine intensifies when we are in isolation. This space of introspection makes our prayers more sincere, purer. There's no need to speak much but to listen, feel, and open up. It's in this moment that prayer becomes an act of deep surrender, a silent dialogue where revelations and guidance arrive with a clarity few experience. Solitude allows us to access wisdom that remains hidden for many. It's as if, in silencing ourselves, we can capture insights and intuitions that seem to come from a place beyond ourselves. Many people who have gone through periods of isolation report feeling chosen to receive revelations and visions that transformed the course of their lives, bringing a new perspective on the world. Elijah as an example of spiritual growth in solitude. The biblical account of Elijah shows the importance of isolation in spiritual growth. His experience on Mount Horeb not only strengthened him, but also enabled him to understand that God's presence is not always in dramatic events, but also in tranquility. Isolation brought Elijah a renewed vision of his purpose and spiritual strength to fulfill his mission. Isolation as a process of inner purification. Being isolated from the world offers a period of emotional and mental purification. Without external interference and pressures, we can face and cleanse feelings and emotions that we often hide or ignore. This time allows us to let go of habits, resentments, and thought patterns that no longer serve us, making room for a more authentic and aligned version of our being. Transformation to return to the world with purpose. After the phase of isolation and self-discovery, a new purpose arises, along with the ability to return to the world more centered, more aware of your mission. Isolation, then, is not an end in itself, but an essential phase of preparation for a more conscious return, where actions and decisions reflect a deeper connection with oneself and the divine. When we talk about isolation, many tend to view this experience as a burden, a painful phase that seems to have no clear purpose. But in the context of a greater mission, isolation is essential preparation. It's like the period when a caterpillar encloses itself in a cocoon before transforming into a butterfly. This time of withdrawal and solitude is actually refining you, removing worldly distractions and influences so your spirit can be purified and elevated. Thus, instead of a pause, isolation becomes a springboard to something greater. This process of distancing is a true test of resilience and character. Often, those chosen for something grand must disconnect from external distractions to connect with something much deeper and more powerful. Isolation allows you to embark on an inner journey where you are confronted with your weaknesses, fears, and limitations. This confrontation is necessary because only through it can you emerge stronger and prepared for the mission that awaits you. When we reflect on the role of isolation, we realize it is not an end in itself, but a path to purification and spiritual transformation. Many of the great leaders and prophets underwent long periods of solitude before reaching their higher purpose. This phase of seclusion is a blessing in disguise, as it offers the opportunity to free oneself from external influences and focus on one's journey, enabling a more intimate connection with one's divine purpose. There's a silent power that emerges when we accept isolation with an open heart. Instead of resisting this phase, recognize it as part of your calling. It's in this time of solitude that your faith is tested and strengthened. The trust that something greater is guiding your steps becomes more solid, and accepting this reality is what enables you to overcome difficult moments and embrace the purpose for which you were destined. It's impossible to talk about isolation and mission without remembering Joseph, who endured a harsh phase of loneliness and injustice. Sold as a slave by his own brothers and imprisoned for years, Joseph had no idea that he was, in fact, being prepared for something grand. It was in isolation that he strengthened his faith and built his resilience, skills that would be essential when he became Pharaoh's right-hand man and saved countless lives. Joseph's isolation was not a punishment, but divine preparation. In the same way, we can look at the story of David. Before being recognized as king, he went through years of withdrawal, facing loneliness and even persecution. This time of seclusion was crucial for him to mature and become the leader that Israel needed. David was tested in his faith and patience, and this phase of isolation was fundamental for him to develop the skills he would use in his reign. Thus, isolation was the path God chose to shape his character. For those who find themselves in a phase of loneliness, It is important to remember that this does not mean rejection or abandonment. On the contrary, it is a time that serves so that you can connect with yourself and the greater purpose that awaits you. Isolation is an opportunity to strengthen yourself spiritually, to acquire the wisdom and strength needed to face the challenges to come. This period may be difficult, but it is, above all, a process of refinement and growth. Many may not understand this phase you are going through, and they may even question your purpose. However, it is precisely in these moments of misunderstanding and loneliness that your mission becomes clearer and your purpose becomes more solid. By accepting isolation as a necessary step, you find the strength to move forward, knowing that every challenge and every moment of loneliness is part of something much greater, something you were called to accomplish. Accepting isolation as a blessing in disguise is a powerful mindset shift. Instead of seeing solitude as a burden, you begin to recognize it as an opportunity for growth and strengthening. This period of withdrawal is what allows you to be truly ready to fulfill your calling. By abandoning the distractions of the world and diving into self-knowledge, you create a solid foundation that will support your mission and lead you to fulfill your purpose. You were chosen for something grand, and this phase of isolation is part of the process that prepares you for this mission. Your solitude is not in vain, but a divine gift preparing you for something extraordinary. Therefore, embrace this phase with gratitude, knowing that, in due time, you will be guided to fulfill the purpose for which you were called. It is through isolation that you become capable of manifesting your true potential and accomplishing that which is greater than yourself. When we go through this kind of isolation, it's important to remember that it is temporary. This phase is like a pause in a grand journey, allowing you to connect with yourself in a way you perhaps never have before. This deep introspection is what strengthens us and prepares us to meet others who share the same values and goals. If the weight of loneliness has been a constant in your life, know that you are not alone. Although it may seem like no one can truly understand what you're going through, there are countless people, in various places, living very similar situations. You are all being guided, little by little, to a meeting that will come at the right time. This process of self-discovery is preparation for the next step, connecting with others who have also found their purpose. Isolation does not define who you are, but rather who you will become. It is merely a passage, a preparatory phase where you are molded to achieve what you are destined to do. This phase of solitude, though painful, is where many answers begin to emerge, for without the world's distractions, your true essence surfaces. Words of comfort are essential on this journey. Knowing that others are going through a similar process can bring comfort and hope. Even if you haven't met them yet, know that these people exist, and that the same universe that put each of you on this path is also preparing the right moment for you to meet. It is important to view this phase of isolation as an opportunity to reconnect with your inner self and to understand the greatness of your purpose. During these moments of introspection, you have the chance to strengthen yourself and align with what you truly desire, distancing yourself from external influences and seeking a true connection with your life's purpose. Amid the pain of loneliness, hope reveals itself as a beacon, reminding you that this isolation is not the end of your story, but only the beginning of a profound transformation. This phase will give you a new perspective and allow you to see life in a broader way, understanding your purpose more clearly and connecting with what truly matters. This period also prepares you for new connections. When the right time comes, you will find others who, like you, have gone through isolation and are now ready to share experiences, learnings, and a common purpose. Isolation then transforms into a bridge to deeper and more genuine relationships. Every phase of life has its reason and value. Isolation is a stage of purification, where everything that does not contribute to your growth and mission is left behind. This is the moment to embrace what truly matters and prepare to live fully, knowing that this solitary journey will lead you to personal fulfillment and a reunion with souls who share the same mission. Only the brave accept this journey. Only the strong choose to listen to this inner voice that calls for change, for authenticity. And you, who are here, who are reflecting on this, have already taken the first step to discover the power within yourself. Take advantage of the opportunities of isolation. Ask yourself, why is this happening to me? What is it trying to show me? So, as you follow this journey, allow yourself to truly reflect. Reflect on your choices, your path, your deepest desires. This is the moment to look at yourself without fear, to question what needs to change, and to find within you the strength to move forward with a clearer purpose. Now I want to know, have you ever felt like a chosen one at any point? Have you gone through an experience of isolation or identified with this idea on a personal level? Share your story here in the comments, because it's by sharing our stories that we realize how alike we are, how this community can be a true support, and in this way, we create a connection that goes beyond the screen. So, leave your story down below. I'll read and respond to as many as I can. I deeply thank you for making it this far. Your presence is truly valuable, and knowing that we're together on this journey fills me with gratitude. If this content resonated with you in some way, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Share this content with others who could also benefit from this message. This simple gesture helps to broaden this discussion, bringing more people to reflect with us.